Here we go, here we go. Come on, come on. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the Riaz and Shafi show on 102.5 FM. Ramadan. Oh God, start again. It's been over a year, you know what I mean?
Listen, man, you're meant to be English teacher, you can't read.
Got to start all over again. We are live on Ramadan special on EVA 102.5 FM. Welcome to the Riaz and Shafi show.
Real talk show.
Real talk show. That's it. Sorry, Steve, I'm out of practice. It's been over a year now, hasn't it, since the last time we've been, well, lunar year.
Lunar year.
Yeah.
How's it going? Anyway, what?
Good.
You've been busy. Every time we have this talk in the beginning of Ramadan, you've been busy. But mashallah, you had a documentary on bereavement, on bereavement and your journey on your father. And you had the play, The Curve.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. You were everywhere, man.
Yeah, it was great because at the end there was dawah at the end. Cause it showed the rough and tumble of when I was a youth.
Yeah.
What I went through. Right at the end, it saw me praying Salah. And that would change my life completely. So I hope it touched a few people's hearts that played it because it was brilliant. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, even though I thought it was going to be rubbish, but when I saw the play, I thought, wow, it's such a great play.
I had to say those two actors were
you can see it, didn't you?
Yeah. See it. The first time, I'll be honest, I would have. It's not my cup of tea.
You're not a theatre,
the theatre play or what have you. But obviously, being your show, I had to come down. Didn't get a discount. Then you found out afterwards that you can get a discount. Anyway,
still stay on the mic. It says he's bossing us around now. The producer, stay still and stay on mic. It's telling me off.
All right, okay.
Okay, I'm staying still. Do you want to be like a robot? Is that better?
Look,
Just so, is that better? Closer. Okay, I've got to get closer.
Yeah, get closer to the mic. Listen, so how's the feedback from that show?
Brilliant.
Yeah?
Brilliant, fantastic. I mean, everybody it was a standing ovation every single night. Every single show, everybody stood up and clapped. That's how good it was. The beautiful thing was you had people from different faiths, different social statuses, young, old, able, disabled. It was great. All different walks of life. You won't see that in the theatre. You see either one sort of set of people that go to watch specific plays.
Predominantly the middle class tend to...
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was working class and middle class. Elderly and young, black and white and brown. It was great. Amazing. And
remember I sent you that picture, you were like on Encore, is that the Encore Hotel?
Yeah.
And there was a massive poster.
That was embarrassing.
Like some kind of Zoom...
I was on the buses as well, which was embarrassing. And bus stops. It was so embarrassing.
Then did you get stopped quite frequently after that?
It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was a bit too much, to be honest with you. At times, I was like, you don't have to worry. It's like, but it was great. It was nice. That period of time was nice.
And is there something to continue from this? Are they going?
I've got to keep my lips sealed.
Okay,
I can't say nothing.
Watch this space, yeah.
Watch this space,
Okay, mashallah.
So anyway, what's our show about today, Shaf?
Yeah, as we were discussing before, on basically how fitna has increased in the last 30 years. Yeah. And what we want to hear from our listeners, what do you think are the causes of this fitna and what are some of the solutions? So if you want to text in or ring in, if our producer can move that screen and we can give the number, and obviously, I don't know if Facebook's live's on. You could
no idea. Is Facebook live on? Yes, it is.
It is on, yeah. So you can even send your comments on Facebook Live. Our telephone number is 0116 212 9324. You can ring into the studio. That's 0116 212 9324. Or the text line is 07450 925 084. That's one time. 07450 925 084. Okay, let me just, you said the last 30 years, when I was a teenager, I didn't practice Islam at all. Yeah.
I was far from Islam. I didn't even believe in Islam. The Muslim kids in my time, when I was growing up as a teenager, were very, very...
Yours is like 40 years ago, isn't it?
Okay. But the Muslim teenagers in those days, you'd never seen them in nightclubs, you'd never seen them drinking, you'd never seen them smoking drugs, they never had that gangster attitude. They were well-respected individuals. But now, when I look at the kids now, not all of them, don't get me wrong, there's some good kids out there, but it seems like the majority are changing. They're becoming like the gangster type, foul language, drinking, smoking on the streets, going out with girls blatantly in your face, and going to nightclubs and doing all kinds of haram. And I thought, when I was growing up, I never saw that. I wasn't a Muslim when I was growing up. I used to hang around white kids and black kids and Indian kids and stuff. I never hardly saw Muslims anywhere.
What do you think is the cause of this?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's social media, if it's the pressures of other people putting peer pressure, because I got peer pressure it was peer pressure with me, because other people were doing it, I was doing it. I don't know with the kids these days, Islam is so, what's the word for it? It's easily available, if you get what I mean. In those days, it wasn't really.
The ironic thing is, say 30 years ago, there wasn't much Islam around, and we had more morals, more
I wouldn't say there wasn't much Islam back. There was, but it wasn't.
Like people know, there was less knowledge, definitely.
Yes,
people,
of course.
we weren't not knowledgeable as if we are now.
Of course,
the amount of knowledge we have now is unbelievable. So we had less knowledge in that sense. We kind of, with less knowledge, we had more morals, more discipline in our lives.
Yeah.
We respected elders more.
Absolutely.
Both of us, obviously, you from a different background. I wasn't the best lad as well. So we both have a bit of a
Naughty background.
Naughty background, you can say. My demographics where I grew up was St Stephen's Road, predominantly West Indian. That's the kind of friendship I had. So that's the kind of influence I was. Then you had the madrasa and you went to the masjid there and there.
When I went to madrasa when I was 11, 12, 13, I got battered.
That was.
There was no muhabbat, there was no love for the deen. It's read the Quran, if you make a mistake, if you make one tiny mistake with reading the Quran, you get battered by the Mulana.
Yeah. Then
used to ginger beard and blue beard and black beard and red beard. I can't remember their names. That's what we used to call them, these nicknames. And there was no muhabbat. There was no love for the deen. But now in the madrasas now, they teach the hadith. They teach the love of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. So I don't understand where it's gone wrong. You get what I mean with the kids?
I think the rise of, like you said, social media.
What's social media?
Hey, that's my Indian kicking in there, man. Yeah, every year you take this mistake out. Yeah, social media, yeah.
Riaz, smile.
So I think the movies, the media, everything just plays a part. And like you said, this gangster culture that's embedded is kind of embedded in our youth. Like it's cool to be
bad.
To be bad.
Yeah.
Whereas only a minority would have, the drug dealers or the person who was into bad, they would have acted bad. But now it's the norm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
if they were Muslim kids back in the day, but they were drug dealers, so people looked at them for, look at those tramps, look at them. You know, people cuss them. But now it seems like it's just, there's drug dealers, they're normal now. Do you think the media have a massive role to play as well by changing the Muslim youth's perception of Islam? I mean, so much negativity out there caused by the media, discrediting Islam as best they can, and other figureheads out there, I won't say names, but other figureheads are trying to criticise Islam. Do you think that's had an effect on the youth?
I don't think in this time now it's had an opposite effect. So you've got one side of Islam where it's become like cool to be on one extreme.
The producers here.
So
no, you might as well do it. It's a live show, so
yeah. So let me carry on.
Oh, so upside down.
So what I was saying. So on one extreme you've got, it's become kind of being cool to go on one extreme and become this radical Muslim where, you know, you hate everybody, hate the kuffar, etc., etc. So that's become one extreme, and obviously you got the other extreme where you're just far from the
very
deen.
liberal.
Yeah,
very liberal.
You're very liberal, or you're just far altogether. So the middle path is there's a very kind of minority grey area.
It's becoming a grey area, isn't it? Let's have a look. There's any messages? Ish, remember them biryani tapalas Earlhow? What's that?
Oh, that's my mate Guvi, yeah. So you know, back in them days, you got to hand it. You know, a lot of the masjid, the brothers who do dawah, they used to feed you a lot, and that kind of bring you into the masjid. You obviously when you So you want food, and you just want chips. You just want a bit of some biryani, whatever they're giving.
It's companionship as well. Sitting around people having a laugh and eating.
So that's something our brothers should, or the masajid should kind of, I think they do to a certain level, where they have a pizza night.
That is.
You know, even certain other masjids, they have like a Thursday, I don't know, certain night, Saturday night or something, they'll have a pizza night. Not every masjid does it, but that's something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So that's something the mosques need to look into.
Come on, people, give us some ideas, because I don't know what's going on with the youth now, because the youth are just, from when I was a kid to what they are now, I have no idea what's happened. And me and Shafi are saying here is social media, influences of movies, grime maybe as well, you know, it's rap stuff. It's just
music definitely has an impact on subliminally, and a lot of these children, or there's teenagers who get into gangster culture, they're constantly listening to these rap music where it's glorifying crime, hate, murder, etc., etc. So this is subliminally even playing into their minds, which there's loads of research done out there on how music plays with the mind. So you gotta know a lot of these
hadith concerning music. What is a hadith?
The majority.
I know what the hadith is, but
Yeah,
if you can clarify it.
Basically, the majority of the scholars, there is a very minority who gave some kind of permissibility in certain conditions, but from my knowledge, majority of the scholars have said it's not permissible. The Quran ayah is do not listen to futile talk, and the commentators of the Quran, majority of them said that this is to do with music, where you're just talking about fahsha, about love, etc. Crime, could be anything. So Hazrat Umar would, when he would hear someone playing the flute or on an instrument, he would cover his ears. Put his fingers in his ears. Correct. So you know, there's many things out there, but definitely from the
there are some scholars that say it's permissible.
That's a very minority, and with certain conditions it was set. And for the layman now, if you open up the door, then what is haram and what's not? How can you identify? So you always go with the majority. And from my knowledge, majority of the scholars does not permit.
Well, Islam came as a stranger and will leave as a stranger. Masjids are disconnected to the youth. They don't engage with the youth.
You know what I had?
What do you say to that?
You remember Sheikh Haytham al-Haddad, may Allah preserve. Remember he came here, and he's sick at the moment. Allah give him shifa. He's going through cancer treatment at the moment.
I thought he's cured.
Is he cured?
Yeah, he's cured.
Yeah, he's cured.
Yes,
Mashallah. Okay. So Allah give him barakah in his life.
Ameen.
And he mentioned some really good points. One point really stood out from all the things he mentioned was when the mosque asked him, how can we make our mosque better? So he said, why are you asking me this question? You should be asking this to your musallis, the people who come to your mosque.
Very good point.
And how many masjids in Leicester? I can't think of one that have actually come out to, made the announcement, this is your mosque, you come here on a regular basis, how can we make it better? So
maybe you should open your own mosque then.
Well, make it another mosque. Like
call it the Shafi mosque. The Ismail Shafi Institute.
There's too many mosques out there. We don't need.
We have a little place called Ismail Shafi Institute or Ismail Shafi Masjid.
No, we got
Masjid Al Shafi. I don't know.
We got loads of mosques out there. Man. All right.
We'll close one down, move in. I don't know.
Can we zoom into any of these comments?
Well, Salams bro just tuned. That's Hamza Bod. Someone said Ahmed Qasim, Alhamdulillah. Elena Chaltu. Okay, says hi back. Okay, Takir Ahmed. One thing I always wanted and thought would help the youth today is introducing a social aspect to Deen, side by side. What I mean is have social clubs in our or near the premises of the masjid. I've been saying that for years. Community centres, youth clubs right next to the masjid or within the masjid complex. We need people to engage with the youth. Have pool tables, table tennis, theme park days. This way it will get them off the streets and at the same time away from their PlayStation and YouTube videos at home.
I think that's a very good point.
That's a fantastic idea.
We've been saying that for years.
Yeah,
every masjid now should have their own youth club. Yeah. And some of the bigger masjids, they've got the facilities, they've got the space.
They use them.
Yeah, so they can use it. I've mentioned it to a few imams that
days of the Prophet the masjid was not just a masjid. It was a community centre. It was a place where people used to chill. People used to go there to ask questions, to meet other brothers, and the kids used to play in the masjid.
They had wrestling in the masjid.
Yeah, wrestling in the masjid as well.
Remember one of the Sahabi, he goes, I want to go in one of the battles. And he kind of tiptoed in the masjid. He goes, look how big I am. And Prophet said, okay, then have a wrestling match with this one. And they had a wrestling match. So it just shows.
If you have to go to masjid, you can get that Polish brother in. He can do wrestling matches.
Yeah. So imagine we've gone kind of far from the real model of the Prophet's masjid, peace be upon him. We've got another message. If you want to read that message out.
Colonization, loss of identity, language, culture. Should watch Ertugrul to learn about respect and honour. Absolutely, I love Ertugrul. Love it.
Yeah, Ertugrul.
I'm up to date with new series came out, new episode come out today, but I'm not going to watch it in Ramadan.
Yeah, those of you who do watch telly, I'd advise if you replace it with something like this. Ertugrul teaches respect, how to respect their father, the parents, the mother.
It even shows women in good role models that fighting. The leaders of the tribe, the morals, business women. It's brilliant. I think it's the best program ever to be on television. That's my humble opinion.
And
Game of Thrones
it's influenced so many different countries. It's been dubbed in so many languages. The Venezuelan president.
It's dubbed.
Yeah, it's been dubbed in so many languages.
Why would it be dubbed in English?
No, it sounds better in Turkish, man.
Yeah, no, but you have to read the subtitles. Can't watch the face. You have to read the subtitles.
No. Do you know what? Some of the episodes I couldn't get, and I kind of heard them in Urdu, and I was like, "What the hell?"
In Urdu?
Yeah, it was in Urdu. I'm gonna be saying the right thing, man.
So the thing with Ertugrul, right? You know when you feel down.
Yeah.
You know sometimes you feel down. You feel, oh God. As soon as I watch Ertugrul, I feel uplifted. It's weird, isn't it?
It's like another
Iman boost.
It was like another Salahuddin to us. We never kind of knew about him. Though obviously we know about the Ottoman Empire, but Uthman I, but we never knew nothing about his father.
No,
Subhanallah. And
brilliant story.
And it's based on true. Even Turgut, he's actually buried.
125 years old. He died on the battlefield.
He carried on with Uthman radiallahu. He served him as well. So based on real characters.
And Bamsi was in prison as well. They're based on unusual names. Turgut, Bamsi.
Yeah, they're all Turkish names. Yeah, they're Turkish names.
Weird names, you know what I mean? But it's a brilliant program. Okay, Yassin Kasmani says, check out Peace Centre in Thurmby Lodge, Community Masjid.
Yeah, that's one unlock. Respect to him.
Yeah, respect.
The guy's running a food bank. You know, I told him about some self-defense classes. He's like, "Come on, do it here." Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, use the masjid." Yeah, so that's something we can look into.
Good.
But that's one Maulana. My hat goes out to him, Maulana Laka.
Okay, another brother says it's Hamzabad. City Retreat is the only place that comes close to what a masjid should be. And Faisal Mahmood said, "Our masjid is already like that." Which masjid is that, Faisal Mahmood? Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's have another message. Says here, besides Salat times, the masjids are empty buildings. Remember, we paid for most of the masjids with our donations, so we should be allowed to have more social facilities in them for our youth.
I blame the public. You pay, meaning the people who have paid the money towards the masjids.
Why?
So, because obviously they've contributed towards the mosques, it doesn't mean that now we can't have a voice. Just there's a committee that stays in the masjid. They run the upcomings of the mosque. So if everybody raised a concern to the imam or to the committee members, look, we want some other facilities here. So I'm sure they're going to start to listen to them. So if everybody's just voicing their opinions on here, but not going to the committees or the imams, then they won't think there is a problem.
I think it'll kick off.
No, they won't kick off.
I've seen the fight the other day. In Preston, where they changed the imam, they started fighting. In Ramadan, they started hitting each other. One guy got punched, and it was ridiculous. There was women there, it was in the car park. In the holy month of Ramadan, they were fighting. Up north somewhere. I think it was Preston or Bury or somewhere. Ridiculous. Because they changed the imam last notice or something.
I've seen some few videos regarding that earlier on. I don't know if it's the same one. But that's more tribalism. These are based on
cross. It's just stupidity.
I'm talking on a serious
note. I know you are, but the thing is, right, there will always be some resistance.
Yeah, definitely. What it is, people are not ready for change, and everybody's kind of set in their ways. Look, it's just recently, a couple of weeks ago, Jamia Masjid have opened a ladies'. I don't think they can pray there 5 times a day, but if they're travelling or they need to use a place, they can. There's a place where the old police station is for women to come and pray there. So imagine that's a step forward.
It is.
Yes, it is a step forward.
Yeah.
So
even Mudney's got like a
Mudney. They apparently they can come and pray Tarawih and apparently at the 5 times Salah even upstairs in the in Ramadan.
My daughter prays Salah there.
Okay, so this is a change gradual because in our Indian culture it's never been existent. The women always pray at home, but obviously that's a different discussion altogether.
I think there's a new generation coming through now. They want more. What's the word? They want more access. They want equal rights. Basically, that's what
there's two extremes. I had a deep discussion with somebody regarding this. That there's 2 extremes. Our women are everywhere now. You go everywhere, you'll find them. To the shops, to the streets, etc.
I was going to say clubs.
Yes, well, shisha cafes, you name it. They'll be
even in workplaces like hospitals, schools, everywhere.
Even at work, there are women actually. Some of them wearing niqab and they're coming to work. Yeah, so imagine they're everywhere. Yeah? So the only place they can't go is the mosque, which is kind of
that's an anomaly.
That's what it is. So then what you're going to have is certain masjids, like extreme masjids, where you got a women imam. No, they're not allowed in the mosque. So now they make their own mosque, and the women there's a women imam. So
if it's women only, that's okay, isn't it? If it's women only,
no, they got women imam with men and women together. Imagine that's another fitna. So I don't know if you've seen that. So that's another one, yeah. So this is another extreme it can go to, but there's a middle ground. I think Mufti Muhammad, if you read his fatwa from Leicester, we're kind of lucky to have him. He's written really good with certain conditions women should be allowed to go to the masjid.
Okay, I think we're diverging a little bit.
Oh, okay, that's another
Let's
topic.
go back to the youth. Why are the youth becoming gangsters and criminals now? I think the influence of grime, because a lot of lyrics on the grime stuff is, I jacked a man, stabbed a man, robbed a man, I've done this, I've done that, blah, 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 blah. And the kids are sitting there listening to it and getting hyped up about it. Next thing they go out with a blade. I mean, last week, there was a stabbing just outside here.
Yeah, we were together. And
we were
together.
Police, and 2 weeks prior to that, there was 2 knife incidents, I think 3 weeks prior to that, on this street itself. So it seems like the kids with knives are just going crazy. They've got no respect for human life. They have no, what's the word I'm trying? No fear of consequence.
I'll just talk about knife crime. Here's a quick statistic for you. Yeah? Police recorded 40,829 offences involving knife or sharp instruments in 2018. That's a 6% rise on the year before.
Wow.
So shows
41,000.
Yeah, and it shows official Office for National Statistics figures show cases of murder and manslaughter, excluding terror attacks, also rose by 12%. There were 732 killings, up from 655 in 2017, the highest since 2007.
And I bet the majority of those in London.
I presume the majority of them are in London.
That's crazy.
And I do feel sorry for
increased.
It's some stupid figures.
You see, let's have a look. Another message come. Don't you think the youth of today are less ambitious and have less passion to succeed than old school, who had to work really hard just to make ends meet? I think it's all about greed. They want money quick.
Yeah.
They haven't got the patience.
They're seeing the drug dealer down the road who's driving the best car.
The Garms on.
Yeah, he's got the Garms, he's driving the best car. He can earn like £400 a day. What's the incentive of me to go work?
Work £10 an hour.
Yeah. So these, I think first and foremost, the first school is at home. So certain qualities needs to be instilled in them, but then there's always a certain level. It's not that easy.
It's the outside.
It's outside because majority of the time they will be outside. So I think it plays a bit of both: the home and then the friends and the society where you live, etc., etc. It all plays a part.
Okay, Tokir Ahmed says. Faisal Ahmed says, in our masjid women can pray all 5 prayers, Taraweeh, Jummah, etc. for at least the last 15 years. But he's not mentioning which masjid it is. Or is it Peterborough? I don't know, I can't see the rest of the message there. Faisal Mahmood, Peterborough, Masjid Khadija in Peterborough.
Khadija, okay, mashallah.
Okay. Tokir Ahmed says, just a quick one before I sign out, please can you mention Masjid Al-Falah? They have a monthly youth program which is usually the last Saturday of the month. Short talk followed by food for the youth. We should go there. MashaAllah, we see more and more youth turn up every month for this. MashaAllah, that's good news.
And do you know what? They need more role model youths to speak to them, like Muslim Bilal and these kind of figures. You understand? Yeah. So on their level, they can speak on their language. Yeah. We've toned up our English. Your English is pretty good anyway, but
not that good.
So like on the street level, how they talk to them.
We're old. We're much older.
Yeah. That's it. Now the street, what they're talking, even obviously the words, the slang, etc. has changed.
Yeah, of course.
So on their level,
stop talking. Don't stop taking. Coming to the what? Don't stop taking. Coming to fix mic. Sorry, this is
what kind of presenter is this, man? All right. So what was I say? We need these kind of people like Muslim Bilal and there's certain people like that who can really. There's not many out there, but they are. We need to find them.
Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon's
Loom. America.
Napoleon's in. I don't know his Muslim name, but he's based in.
Mutabil.
Yeah, Mutabil. Yeah. He's based in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh now.
Yes.
So he has come here once. I actually met him.
Yeah, it was packed. Yeah, I know.
A few years ago.
Even when he came, it was packed.
Even noon. Yeah.
But they only here fly-by visit and they're gone. We need more permanent role models here, especially in Leicester and all these cities that can come here permanently. At least meet the youth at least once a month, and talk to them on their level. Me and you can't do that because we're much older. Our language is completely different to street talk now. It's all fam this, fam that, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So these mosques need to basically seek these guys out, invite them. Yeah. Even if it need to mean pay them.
Yeah, it's worth it.
And it will be worth every single penny.
Inshallah.
Every single penny.
They have to. Okay, so people, come and talk to us. We've got new comments.
What's the one?
Producer, we've got 2 new comments.
Topper Ahmed, what is it?
Okay, you got Imran says 7 Kings Mosque on lockdown in Ilford after shot fired during Ramadan prayers. breaking news.
Okay, must be some breaking news. Yeah.
In Masjid as well.
Even in Ramadan.
Remember a few years ago, incident in Masjid Umar where the guy came with baseball bats and they had their boots on.
Yeah.
So every Ramadan, something silly happens with the youth. Always with the youth. They've got no fear of Allah anymore.
That's it.
Especially in Ramadan, you think the shaitan's locked up, but I don't know.
A couple of years ago, there was like a stabbing here as well on Everton Road.
Yes. On Everton Road, in Ramadan.
In Ramadan. So
they're going crazy. They've got no. I don't know how. Look, as a parent myself and as a parent yourself, right? It's a losing battle because if we're fighting against the street, what's happening out there on the streets, we're fighting against that for our kids, trying to protect them from. But they're always on the street.
And some of these youngsters, they're carrying knives just to protect themselves.
Yeah, they do.
Unfortunately, that's what it's become. Yeah. They're thinking on the vibe that if I don't carry a blade with me, there's a chance I can be stabbed, shanked, whatever you want to say, and I'm just carrying it for protection. But the flip side would be that you could, out of protection, stab the guy once, and you've killed him and he's dead. Well, you're going down 15 years minimum.
That's the thing, you see, there's consequences. The problem is, they don't see the consequence. You stab somebody, kill them, that family that person that you've killed, their family are grieving. You're getting locked up for life. Your family are grieving. You got what I mean? So it works, it's the consequence on both sides. The kids don't see that. They think it's glorifying, but I jacked a man, I shivved a man, I mean, it's got like a badge of honour, like a medal. It doesn't work that way. Okay, got another message from Saima Junija. Sorry if I can't pronounce your name. Aside from social wait, I was reading that. What kind of producer's that? Tell him, bro.
Go on, carry on.
Okay, Muhammad Yusuf's our producer today, so if there's any mess ups, right, I blame him, no one else. Anyway, it's see more as well. Okay, click on see more as well, please, bro. No, if you go down, it says see more, click on, I can read the whole thing then. Okay, it's quite a long message. Aside from social activities for the youth, as teenagers of today develop issues such as mental health in this society are subsequently developing. That's true, mental health issues as well.
Yeah, that's
depression, all kinds of things. I believe and have done so for some time that it would be helpful if the masjids had intervention programs, open access for the youth who literally just want to come in for some peace or simply an open-minded chat. I remember wanting a space I could go to just to sit and think. A space to think away from home, family, friends is very underrated. I think the youth today are within the mindset that an Islam-led life is very regimented and judgmental. It would be helpful for our communities to openly accept that the generation are straying, that drugs and mental health within the Muslim community are a very real and very big issue. However, if we deal with it head on, with love and awareness, slowly but surely there can be some change, inshallah.
I agree with the sister.
They need an open space, they need somewhere they can go and chill, just to get away from everything. Sit to retreat.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, a retreat. You can just go there, have a cup of tea and just sit there, away from everything.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, we need more centres like that around, spread out around Highfields, around Edmonton.
Maybe
kids can go and have a chat.
Well, the masjid is there, it's open, you can contemplate in there.
But sometimes they close the door after the prayers.
Yeah, that's there. So that's something, like she's saying, that we need something like that. So maybe, like I say, raise it with the imam or the committee. All right, shall I read this one out?
Yeah, you can.
Should parents, it's not written properly. Should parents bear
some responsibility?
Okay, bear some responsibility also for allowing their youth to act this way. If I ever did anything out of line, I'll be brought straight back into line by my dad. I am now a teacher with teenagers of my own. So like I said, I think parents do play a big role in it as well. If you imagine, you see your child rocking up with, he's got the latest car, he's driving a 17 grand car. Where the hell did you get the money from? And if your parents are not questioning it, and obviously can't justify.
What happens is the kid just runs away from home.
No, to a certain age where they should have that certain amount.
14, 15, give a good tupper. Well, I shouldn't say that, but
there's a certain age where obviously you need to
become 18, 19, 20. They're adults. How can you control them?
No, you got to make them understand. We're not saying obviously throw them out the house. Just say you have to justify. Say, look, son, you've got this. How did you acquire this? Okay, he may give you a load of bull which you would suss out straight away, and you say, look, come on, man. man, you know, and just, you got to explain to him. You got to...
You try, you explain to them, you go blue in the face, but you can still do it.
Yeah, eventually...
Because even though you show them love and kindness and say, look, you know, stop doing what you're doing, they're still going to do it because their friends are doing it, and the outside world they're living in, they spend more time outside than doing inside the house.
Okay, we've got another text. Right? Are you saying we got no local role models here? Why? What's the solution? Yeah, we have got role models here.
In Leicester.
We have got some. Who can we name?
Come on.
Top of my head. No, there's loads. I don't want to mention them on air though.
Why not?
That can come in my head because somebody might say they're not role models.
So there are people.
Yeah, they are.
Look, you can mention because no one says they're not role models. And what role models they want? You got what I mean?
Yeah, we got ex gangsters who've changed themselves now, and mashallah they're on the deen. And we can.
Are you talking about yourself?
No, stop it. Yeah, no. There's many brothers out there who
they should come out more open. They should come out more often because I don't know who they are, to be honest with you. I'm a bit lost with that one. Seriously, I don't know who they are. A lot of people, but there are 1 or 2 individuals that are like Tariq, the horse rider. He's come from the hood to the horses. Now he's a good role model.
Oh, that black brother.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a good role model.
Yeah.
Because he's changed his life completely.
Yeah.
They are the odd individual out there, but they're a tiny minority. We need more. We need much more. You got what I mean?
There was our brother. One brother, but Shatu. He can talk. He was part of the game. Brother Amin. You know, he was part of Fafi, he was part of the game, mashallah, he's practicing the deen. There's many brothers out there similar to this.
Yeah, but they're our age. You want younger ones.
Younger ones.
He's like near my age, he's older than me.
Yeah, he's about your age. But
so we need ones that, I'm talking guys in their 20s who completely changed, or guys in their mid-30s who can speak to the youth who are 17, 18.
Yeah, they must be out there. Obviously, we're not in touch with them because we're moving in different circles. But there must be...
Word of mouth, you'll hear about these people, won't we? You know what I mean? Okay, we need to train children from a small age and not wait until it is too late.
Until it's too late.
I don't know. I mean,
look, a parent can do, as long as the parent has tried their best.
Yeah.
Nuh alayhi salam. Imagine he is a prophet, and his own son. Imagine that he must have grew up in the house of a prophet, and he wasn't even a believer. So as long as a parent can say, look, I've tried my best, I've given the tarbiyah, I've given the time, I've made sure they prayed salah, because the hadith says you tell your children to pray salah when they're 7. By 10 you reprimand them. So if you've been doing that until they're teenagers, you try to give them good morals, you've tried your best, and you'd know as a parent that, look, I've tried everything. Then after that, it's in the hands of Allah.
It's a bit disheartening when you see your child going astray and you try your best to bring them back. You know what I mean? It is disheartening.
Yeah, definitely. I feel sorry for all the mothers whose sons are probably going to prison.
It's not easy. Talking from personal experience, it's really. I don't want to say too much. But when you bring your kids go to madrasa and they sit and they go to an Islamic school and you think they're going to do well, as soon as they leave that environment, they go to college or whatever, and everything that they've learned gets thrown out the window. It just goes upside down. You think, hey, what happened there?
I really think
you know what I mean?
We as fathers and parents, we need to build a better relationship with our children. We all lack in that. We probably need some skills up,
We weren't
mentoring. We weren't taught because our parents were very strict. There was no you just do what you're told attitude.
Exactly.
So we definitely, they are. Recent Darul Arqam, they were having a parenting sessions for parents, how to become better parents, etc. So we need more sessions like this. More parents need to go become better parents. We might think
when you get to my age, you're set in your ways. It's really difficult to change your parenting skills. I mean, you can do bits and bobs, but it's really, really difficult. I mean, my parents never taught me how to be a parent.
Okay.
So.
All right. The number is nobody's rang in yet. So if you want to ring in, maybe you're sleeping, having iftar. I don't know. The number is 0116 212 9324. That's 212 9324, or you can text in 07450 925 084. We're live on Facebook Live as well, so that's another way to contact us as well.
I just got a message from my mate talking about blowing your own trumpet. How can you blow your own trumpet? I'm going to say I'm not a good parent. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not a good enough parent. Sometimes I think I've failed as a parent. You know that, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It's not.
It's
no one tells you being a parent, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. There's no sort of life skills to teach you that, is there? You get what I mean? It's just you just go along with it, don't you? It's like trial and error.
Definitely.
That works, that doesn't work, that works, that doesn't work. And I think, I don't know, Alam. It's not easy. You know what I mean?
I do feel sorry for the youth of today, the pressures on them. Apparently, I don't know any Muslim cases, but they say that when certain schools have banned the social, Instagram, etc., because certain individuals won't get enough likes, so they were falling into depression. And that's what was happening. So imagine what kind of society they've been brought up in. Yeah.
Yes, we heard about this Seven Kings Mosque shooting. Hunt for gunman who opened fire during Ramadan prayers.
Allahu Akbar. That was just
that's
recently,
just at 12:30.
Whoa.
It happened. Hope no one's been killed or injured. Seriously, not. Mosque is on lockdown after a man bleached Buchanan gun tried to make his way inside during prayers. So that means it must.
Police say the suspected gunman was ushered outside before a shot was fired at Seven Kings Mosque in Ilford, London. People at the mosque reportedly chased the suspected gunman out of the building, according to multiple posts on social media. This is
That's from the Mirror.
By the Mirror, yeah.
Subhanallah.
But we remember we were discussing this, how the mosques need to do more on safeguarding, and the Muslim community as well. We organised an event. Unfortunately, there was loads of events that day, so it was not many turned up. Handful turned up, but that was our main theme, that mosques need to be more proactive.
They have to be, especially in Ramadan, because that's when you get the majority of people attending the masjids in Tarawih. They're packed out. They need 2-3 guys standing outside to make sure whoever comes in, they can question who's coming in.
Coming in like the Jamaat, the Chokidari. They have a Chokidari, and that's what it is.
Yes,
that's what you need. 2-3
strong brothers
at the front, at the back. And
they'll get the reward for the Tarawih anyway.
They'll get the reward.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
They will get the reward for Tarawih anyway. So what do you think the solution is then, brother? I mean, we've had some suggestions on here saying that the mosque should be open more for the youth to come along. The imam should be more easier to approach.
And like I said, the mosque committees need to engage with the youth and ask them what do they want. You know, like I said, not just on a wider scale would be everybody, but for the youth itself. Ask them, what do you need? What services would you want? Do you want a youth? I definitely say every mosque should have a youth club. That's one thing. Come for Salah time, they all close it down, come in the masjid, and they all got to come there, so you can give them a little talk, you know, while they're 5 minutes out, or we've got a brother here, just wants to give us everybody a reminder, you know, a quick booster, you know, stuff like that. So rather have them on the streets, you've got them in a controlled Islamic environment. Where they could be playing PlayStation, they can be having table tennis, pool, you know, whatever you want to call it. So
it's bizarre how it's changed in the last 30 years. SubhanAllah. When the Muslim kids in my time were very, very nick. They were very pious. They were very polite. It's just unbelievable how it's changed so rapidly. And it's going to get worse.
Yeah,
it's not going to improve one bit. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Fitna is going to get increase.
There's a hadith about that, isn't there? Do you remember the hadith?
Of fitna
each generation.
Yeah, the hadith to the effect that a time will come when holding on to the deen will be like holding on to hot coal. You get me? So you know that's what's it's becoming.
And apparently there's a hadith that says that each generation will be worse than generation before. And 30 years ago, the generation then was. Well, look at the generation now.
But you know what? We need to show them a lot of love as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're probably lacking love in the house, in the families, for whatever reason. And if we elders, like obviously we're going older now, if we don't show them love as well, so we got to show them some love. We got to show them love as well. So some of them just need a bit of love. You know, just
you show love to the kids. You used to stroke their heads and
play
with them and stuff.
Used to do salam to every young person out there.
Do we do that?
That's what we need to look into ourselves.
I do say sometimes salam to young kids, but then they grunt or they just look at you and think, why are you saying salam to me for? So it's this attitude now, isn't it? So rather
to be fair, I only know about 2-3 people who don't reply back to a salam. The majority do actually say the salam back. When you say the salam, at least they will reply back to the salam.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the first step. So like I said,
what I think another worrying thing is you've got a lot of Muslims out there who are role models, but they're in the wrong thing. It's the completely wrong role model. You've got this guy called, I don't want to say his name, but he's a DJ Muslim, and he's got you know.
So you're just talking about Muslims who are in the media, who are famous, but they can't be role models.
No, but people look at them as role models.
Yeah, unfortunately they do, but they're not. Just because they have a Muslim name, they may be Muslims. We hope
I
they're
don't
still
mention
Muslim.
names because I don't know.
Yeah, we know who you're kind of referring to, but they can't be role models. The role models for us, for me in this generation, was Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X,
legend.
You know, these
Muhammad
kind of
Ali was a legend.
Come on, man.
In the last 100 years, I think he was the most influential Muslim.
Definitely.
In this last 100 years.
In this century, he was voted as well, the most recognized sports personality in the century or something.
Yeah.
But how Allah utilized him for a time where Islam was unknown.
Yeah, I know.
His own people were suppressed, and he stood up for the Afro-Black Americans at the time, stripped from his world titles. You name it, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
What he done to release those people from Iraq when Saddam Hussein and then the American government used him to like an intermediary.
Yeah.
You name it, the list
An amazing man.
He was just amazing.
Like giving Jennifer Dawson was an amazing man. And that's a role model.
And you see clips of his videos, you know, they still go around, you know, and how he talks about Allah, my bodyguard, do you have a bodyguard? You know, the famous clips, you know. And
he didn't care. He wasn't shy with it.
And you can just listen to him again and again, and you're like, wow, this man is just on a next level. And every single person that I know have total veneration and admiration for Muhammad Ali, rahmatullah alayhi, even the non-Muslims, and this is a sign for wilaya, a friend of Allah. When somebody becomes a friend of Allah, everybody loves him, and this was definitely like a sign. Today we think of a wali, the guys who's got the massive as jubba and the massive as a beard. He's the wali, that's it, nobody else. But in our days, and what he done, trust me, this man was a friend of Allah.
Yeah, of course he was. I believe so as well.
So, you know, we hope he's in the highest stages of Jannah, inshallah.
And the thing is, those role models were not shy to say they were Muslims. Now people feel a little bit shy to say they're Muslim. It seems like they're not, I don't know what's the word for it, they're not actually going out and saying, I'm proud to be Muslim. I'm Muslim, I'm proud. We shouldn't be ashamed of it. We are Muslims.
Unfortunately, some people are suffering from inferior complex, where they will try to change the name. If it's Muhammad, it'll be Mo. Or
I read an article today where this guy changed his name to an Irish name because he was getting, in Northern Ireland, he was getting bullied. So if anybody's still listening, you could even text in, say salam, that you are listening, or if you're on Facebook, or we are speaking to dead people, So text number 07 450 925 084, or you can ring in 212 9324 212 9324. That's Leicester. So how's your boxing club getting on anyway? Let's talk about you, because you set up this boxing club for the youth and stuff.
It's the area where I grew up, around St Stephen's Road area. It's on Bartholomew Street. Currently, I only do it on Saturdays at the moment. I used to do it more days, but boxing's not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah, the kind of numbers dwindle down. It's hard work. It's not. People think it's easy. It's not. It requires a lot of dedication.
You need a lot of parents pushing the kids to go.
Yeah. So I've got a regular set of lads that come every Saturdays. The ones who've gone better, I'm encouraging them to go to other clubs, move on. It's just like a stepping stone. And I get certain adults coming just to train as well. So that's what it was for me, really, to put back something where I grew up.
Put back into the community. I mean, it's a good discipline as well. It stops people from. I saw a thing on Facebook yesterday. This guy in London, he was bullied when he was a young lad. So he took up martial arts, and what he does now, he basically, any kid that gets bullied, they come to him. He teaches them self-defense and makes them confident, makes them believe in themselves. This is what we should do with our youth. Exactly the same thing. This guy's a local hero. He's non-Muslim as well, but the guy's a local hero.
Yeah, that's every martial art will give you discipline.
He's bringing in kids that have been bullied.
So he's appealing.
Come to me, give them free lessons, trains them to become confident, to have respect for themselves, to not be bullied anymore. And that's what we need to do with some of the kids out there. There's a lot of kids getting bullied on social media for the way they dress, the way they look, what trains they're wearing. There's a lot of bullying out there. It's terrible.
Social media bullying.
Yeah. Cyberbullying.
Well, then they come for boxing training.
Yeah, they come because they're getting bullied. No, it's not just that, but there's so much bullying on. For example, cyberbullying. You have to look a certain way. You have to dress a certain way, talk a certain way.
So,
it's a lot of influence for the youth now.
Like I said, there's
It's a
loads
negative
of
influence.
there's so much pressures on the youth today. They need a certain amounts of likes on Instagram or whatever, and they have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But we should always realize that our true role models are the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Sahaba. If we have that in mind, then we don't care who wears what and who's doing what. And if we really turn to the deen, and we're all lacking it, you know, our deen is always diminishing, going up and down. And I saw a really good post. I was trying to look for it before I came, but I couldn't find it. And it's one scholar who's saying, you know, when you see in Ramadan, the sister who's fasting, she may not be wearing the hijab. And the brother who you never seen in a masjid, but he comes into the masjid. You know, this is a sign of their iman. You know, don't look down upon them. Yeah. So encourage. This is a beautiful thing.
We have a special guest today. Yes, Arif Jedsi. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
How are you, brother?
This is the brother who feeds the homeless regularly on a Wednesday night and does other things as well. He's got a shop in town now.
You're a trustee.
Yeah, I'm a trustee now for these guys. But this brother here, he's a local hero, a local legend.
Mashallah.
This is a good role model.
I actually rang him the other day, actually.
Did you?
Regarding that brother who ran away from home.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Did you saw him out?
Yeah, he's watching the house then.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, he's
Leave the door open, Just.
He's actually
Producer, leave the door open, please. It's hot. Leave the door open. So, go on, tell us what happened there. So you rang him.
Yeah, apparently there's a brother who embraced Islam. His parents weren't happy. They locked him up.
Wow.
From Highfields. He escaped from the window. He's only
Young
18.
guy,
He's
18.
only 18-year-old. Yeah, he's been practicing Islam for 4 months secretly, and his parents caught on, and his brothers caught on. So they forced him to do sujood to one of the idols, and eventually.
So where's the freedom of expression there then?
Yeah.
Where's the freedom of religion there?
This is a different person.
This
It's not a guy who's
a
house, so
different case,
I don't want to take the credit.
Oh,
for that.
But anyway,
Different story altogether.
I've rang that brother tonight. He's still yet to contact brother.
That's where the confusion was.
So which one did you sort out?
This is another brother who's basically he's got a girlfriend who he's supposed to do his nikah with. He's still not done it. She's converted to Islam, and there's been issues with the family, etc. It's a bit of a complex case, but without going into it too much, basically he's in limbo, both of them. So we've managed to sort housing out for him.
Mashallah.
So yeah, they're off the
So
streets.
how many
anyway.
people have you housed so far in the last year or so?
Just over a year, we've managed to advocate housing for 33 people.
Wow, that's amazing.
To the extent where now we've got like the local mayor's office have recognised that.
Wow.
The crime commissioner of Leicester has also recognised that, and inshallah going forward we should be we're trying to work with these agencies.
So you're talking about not just Muslim, you're talking about all
everyone.
all,
I mean,
anyone.
obviously I'm Muslim, but like when I started the charity off 2014. It's never been about Islam. It's just been Islam through our actions, and it's worked. I mean, I've broken down a lot of barriers. Alhamdulillah. We've had messages from like a lady who volunteers with us, and her mum's from the Highlands in Scotland, so she's very anti-Catholic.
Anti-Catholic.
She's Protestant. She's Protestant, and she's very anti-Catholic. So forget Muslims altogether. So that's a different story. When her daughter told her she's volunteering with us and stuff, and she goes, "Well, who runs it?" So she said, "A guy called Arif." She goes, "Oh, what's that?" She goes, "He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim chap." She goes, "Impossible. Why would they be feeding our homeless?" So she goes, "Well, I'll come at Christmas. I'll show you the videos and stuff." Because her mum was quite old. She's not got access to the internet or Facebook or whatever. And she's gone up there, showed her, and she goes, her mum was in tears that she's lived such a blinkered life of prejudice, so to say. And we get quite a lot of messages like that. And it is about breaking down barriers, because, you know, I'm a realist when it comes to, you know, I don't like to, you know, pamper over things, but the situation that we're in, Leicester, yes, there's a lot of Asians, a lot of Muslims, you know, people that live in Leicester that aren't Asian or Muslim, they've interacted with Muslims before, but then you got places like maybe Desford, Market Harbour, them kind of areas where they've not interacted with Muslims before. So unfortunately, their views on Muslims are what they see in the news,
in the
media. I'm not going to name
Social
papers, but we
media.
all know which papers they are and which news channels or whatever. And when they, when I started, I used to go out onto the streets via just collecting clothes into like a suitcase, 3-4 suitcases in the boot, get a few people, a few volunteers from out of Leicester to come, non-Asian, non-Muslim people. And at the end of it, they're like, "You're all right, you pal." I'm like, "What do you mean? What were you expecting?" They go, "Well, obviously, we've heard this or we've seen this, but you're nothing like that. You're just a normal chap. You're one of the lads." I'm like, "Well, until you actually interact with a person, or Muslim, for example, you're not going to know." And we've broken down loads of barriers. That I've had people inquiring about Islam, English Qurans given out. A few people have taken Shahada as well. At the city retreat.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's all positivity, and it's about everyone working together for the greater good, and community cohesion is massive. Like when you've come in on a Wednesday, English, white, black, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, non-religious people, all of us, we all get together and we serve everybody who comes there. And like 99.9% of the people that come to the markets for the food, they're not Muslim. But it doesn't mean that obviously we restrict our help to certain people. And again, with the homeless situation, yes, we are mainly there for the homeless, but also for struggling people as well. I mean, we serve literally thousands of people every year. If you work out on average every week, we get 160, 170, 180. When we have special occasions, maybe over 200. Like at Easter, for example, I think we had 250 Easter eggs there ready, and I think we only had about 30 left at the end of it. So that's 220 people potentially served, and we were supposed to give out one each. But you remember that guy who took about 6 in that bag? That was ridiculous. That was funny. And the guy's like, "No, give it back to me." You see me? It was like a tug of war, man. But anyway, yeah. So we served about 220 there. So if you average that out over the space of a year, I mean, it's every Wednesday. So whether it's Christmas Day,
so it's 400 a month. Well, say 500 a month.
What people?
500 a month maybe.
Six, I'd say
times that by
just
12.
over 700 maybe.
Times that by 12.
And that's just the food aspect.
You're talking 6,000, 7,000 people you feed.
Yeah.
Are you looking for volunteers?
I've got loads, bro.
Loads of
honestly,
volunteers.
I'm turning people away to the point where I work with the other guys that do Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday. That's one group. They call Feed Leicester. We do Wednesdays. Saturday, Sunday is the Sikh group called MLSS, Midland Langar Seva Society. Basically, they do Saturday, Sunday.
They do a lot of good work.
Yeah, of course. And like I'm turning volunteers to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday now because I've got too many, and it's no point keeping so many in a WhatsApp group as well. Because what we do on a Monday, we do a roll call, right? So Wednesday, who's down? So we get up to about 15, 16 people, and I say, right, that's enough now. Because what happens then, it gets intimidating because you got to imagine the square of each market stall, and you can't have more than 6, 7 people in there. And then there's like loads. It's just everyone's in each other's way, and it doesn't work. It's a well-oiled, smooth machine. You've seen how well it is for the amount of people that we churn out, literally from 7 o'clock when we start to like 10 to 8, and everyone's dispersed by then. So it's alhamdulillah, it's good. And the thing is, we get so much support as well. I mean, literally, if you think about it, every week without fail, there's a temple on Colton Street, the Sai Baba temple, that's just behind Charles Street, and they cook rice and curry for us every week without fail. So it's fresh there. Hot food in the winter is appreciated. Summer, I mean, it's still appreciated in summer as well, but we've got piping hot rice and dal every week. We've got the pub near the market, Night and Garter. They cook pasta for us every week. Greg's, we get support from Greg's in Oldby, Greg's on Uppingham Road, Greg's near the marketplace, Greg's on Gallery Gate, and Greg's in Haymarket, and they give us all the leftover products. So you've seen how many donuts were there, sandwiches, pasties, sausage rolls, pastries, all that kind of stuff. We've got a sandwich factory in Lutterworth. Anything expiring on Thursday that they have to then pay to dispose of, they give to us on a Wednesday, and two of their workers, one of them brings it over every Wednesday.
You might have a massive, a big food outlet coming soon as well, inshallah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew it was good to bring a trustee like you on board. That should inshallah hopefully happen.
I'm queuing up, mate.
Yeah, we'll get you a special passage. Jump the queue. So yeah, we've got that, and then we have like soft drinks and hot drinks. We go through so much coffee. I mean, we've got Tesco in Beaumont Leys, a lady called Samia there who's a community champion. Samia, she's called Samia. Not Samia, Samia. And there's also Tesco on Narber Road at the start. There's a community champion there called Marcella, and they regularly give us coffee and sugar and hot chocolate, and we go through so much of that. Tea not so much, I don't know why, but coffee and hot chocolate, we churn through it.
This is what I'm talking about, role models.
MashaAllah, we've got one here.
We've got one here, a living role model for the youth to look at, to look up to.
Yeah.
He's doing so much good things for the community, mashallah. And the kids don't see that. The kids just want to be like, he dresses well as well, he wears all the garms. He helps out with it. It's not my cup of tea what he wears, but, you know what I mean? But he helps out the community.
I get that from Yusuf and Margie.
He helps out the community, he does all the good things for the community. That's a role model. There you go, living role model.
Going forward, we are looking to start going into schools and give talks and stuff. So if you can get these kids active into voluntary work, and while they're young, it's mindset.
What's your next step now
for the charity?
Yeah,
big steps. potentially going forward, the model that we've got like a guy who's on our trustee board that Riaz hasn't met yet, but you did meet him actually, Lachlan. He's very business minded. He's run like multi-million pound companies, and he's just been CEO of, like, I think he was in charge of, Walker's the Sensation range. Okay. He was in charge of actually launching that. So he's brought his business acumen in, and he's like tightening up the gaps, basically making us watertight and stuff. And there's a few other trustees as well. And basically the next steps, I mean, the model we've got with regards to housing people, there's a lot of groups out there that will feed people, a lot of groups out there that will clothe people. But what you're doing is basically just sustaining them on the streets. But how are you actually bettering them? How are you moving them forward? And that's where the niche that we've kind of hit is this housing aspect. We've not got the bureaucracy and the red tape of council and places like that. So if the management team is myself, Corey and Vanessa, if we think, right, well, this person, what we do, we get people, one of the key things is the substance abuse. They can't have active addictions. When it comes to alcohol, drugs, or whatever it is, basically, we get them tested. They sign an information sharing agreement, and we then follow that up and make sure what they're telling us is the truth with regards to even like offences in the past and stuff like that. And as long as we're happy and we're comfortable, and the landlords that we've got in our network, they basically rely on us to vouch for these people, that we're going to put people in there that aren't going to damage the property and the usual stereotypes that come with people that pay with benefits and stuff. So we're kind of like risking, like putting our neck on the line as well with these people, and we make sure they understand that, look, we're vouching for you, don't mess it up for us. So that model, there's no reason why that can't be rolled out anywhere in the country as long as the funding's there and the management team's there. So potentially moving forward, I mean, Help the Homeless Leicester could now be Help the Homeless East Midlands, Nottingham, Coventry, Derby. The guys, the trustees, they're thinking even bigger, but obviously one step at a time. One thing I've always made sure is that whenever we're moving on to the next step, the step below has to be solid. The foundation has to be solid to carry on with your next steps. And like I said, it's worked brilliantly. Alhamdulillah. Honestly, what it is, when your intention's clean, you've got no underhanded tactics or motives or anything. You're always going to be successful. And we always land on our feet with the charity. And now there's so many more corporates getting involved. Banks are raising money for us, charity days and things like that. I've recently started this thing where I'm getting people to send posters and letters to the head teachers of their kids' schools for non-uniform days, for example. Each child pays £1, 600 students in a school, 1,000 students in a school. For us, as a charity, it's brilliant. And not just that, it shows that everyone's getting together for the greater cause. And it shows that people are actually backing us and they believe in us. So going forward, it's things like that, basically.
That's fantastic. What can you say?
What can you say, bro?
You know what I mean?
So
walking, talking role model, blessed us. You know what I mean? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Well, make it successful and make it means to give dawah as well.
100%,
you know what I mean?
definitely. And like I said, if you can get kids while they're young and influence them in a positive way, then if they start moving in these kind of circles, then going forward, it's only going to be a good thing, because, even bringing them in as volunteers as they grow up and stuff like that.
How about reaching out to madrasas and mosques?
For myself?
You get them, feed the homeless and stuff.
It's tricky. I've tried it in the past. What you've got to remember is, you've got the city retreat, which is central, which is perfect. But other than that, really, the only closest mosque is probably central mosque to town.
Well, city retreat is not really a mosque.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. So, for example, in winter, when it's -6, -5, when we try and feed people on the market, I have approached a mosque close to town, but unfortunately the trustee committee just didn't get on board, and they were talking about Baki issues. And I'm thinking, hold on, we're not even doing it in the mosque. We're not even doing it on the carpet. We're in the hall behind, where if you want, I'll even mop up afterwards with Dettol and stuff. But I don't think they were on board, and it saddened me, in fairness. And it's not just me that's seen this. Mohammed MG, he encountered this. I think Ruxana Hussain was mentioning it once to me as well. It's sad that we can't get the mosque involved more. But
only a place of worship, open the doors.
Yeah, but then you've got obviously like at One Roof Summer Hour. And they've just secured funding now to open throughout the year, which is massive. That's brilliant. I'm really glad about, because they do a really good job, and they get mosques involved, temples involved, synagogues involved, churches involved. So that's a positive step, and shows community cohesion as well. So.
That's the key. Community
massively, bro. You have to, though. You have to go with everybody.
You can't be islands.
Not just that.
You cannot be an island in this country. We have
100%.
to interact with the people. We have to.
Definitely.
Is it Salma a great role model? Yeah, of course she is, but she's not young. That's the problem. She was young then,
Is the criteria to be young? Because I'm not young anymore.
We're talking about for youngsters, because kids now,
they're going to look at certain.
They don't attach themselves to the older generation. They want to get in. you know, they want to attach to keep people their own age or a little bit older.
Slightly older, yeah. Someone who can look
So
at photos.
Salman's
Someone who's lived through what they're going through, basically.
Exactly. And just come out of it, and they're still sort of in that age category.
Yeah, and they're very, how can you say, easily influenced as well. So if you can drop positivity on them, then it's just showering them with positivity, then hopefully that'll filter through and they'll probably move in the right way rather than the wrong way.
Maybe the Help the Homeless can do something like that. Help the youth to, like you say, you're going to start going to schools and stuff, trying to get volunteers to come along. So you have, like, on a Wednesday night, you have, let's say, 10 volunteers from a school.
Yeah, we had like the Darulum on Loughborough Road. They wanted to bring students down, so I said, look, you can't bring all of them down in one go. Split it out over 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever, and that's what they did. And they've been, and they really enjoyed it.
Mashallah.
So it's one of them heartstring pulling, good vibe things, you know, feeding people and stuff. And the thing is, like I said, alhamdulillah, it runs so smoothly that when people come, they really get involved and really take it on board. I mean, I've had like people in the past that wanted to donate, and there's this lady that come down, and she just stood on the side observing, and I didn't even clock on it was her at first, and I just thought, I wonder who that lady is, but I was busy because you've seen how hectic it is, so carried on doing what we got to do, blah blah blah. And then next minute, Corrie, one of my colleagues, she goes, that lady over there, who's that? I said, I'm not sure. And then she goes, why don't you go speak to her? Then I clocked on, it's that lady who wanted to donate to us, but I didn't realise who it was until after. And then obviously, explained to her, sorry, I was busy, etc. She gave us £20,000.
What?
Yes, £20,000.
Wow.
Because she's in charge of a trust, basically, that's been left to her, and to give to like charitable causes that she sees fit. And she gave us £20,000 last year. That enabled us to open our centre, the charity shop.
Where is the charity shop?
9 Abbey Street. So if you know where Al Murad is, going into town, you approach a traffic light, take a right towards St Margaret's bus station.
Okay.
It's just on the right there. So that's
Next
like
to the hotel.
Yeah, where the hotel used to be. So that's our charity shop, and it's also our offices as well. So
It's next to a cinema, isn't it?
No,
There was a cinema there.
I don't know. Opposite the fan club.
Odeon, I think it was second, like a small Odeon.
I don't know. Opposite the fan club.
Yeah.
That's what we tell everybody. Everyone seems to know where the fan club is.
So
Yeah, but yeah, she enables to open up our centre, and then she's come back again this year, and she says we don't generally give to charities twice, but because she follows us on Facebook, and she goes that we put a plea out, we're running short of funds and stuff, so she's give us another 10k.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's 30k in all.
30k, yeah.
Wow.
So there's people out there that are willing to back us, and that's the beauty of it, and it makes me proud to think, cause where we started from. Literally, I watched one of my friends in Bolton who does something similar. I mean, he's called Bilal Ahmed. You've probably seen him on Facebook, and he used to do what they're going out on the streets, and I mean, they've grown to something quite big as well. And I mean, they feed people every day of the week and stuff and whatnot. I watched him, and I thought, well, that's pretty easy, man, in fairness. So let's
Read that.
So MG, the one who created this help, he was the first one, weren't he?
I used to do the clothing, and he used to come out with me, and then
Good lad, yeah.
we used to get food then. And then what happened was Mohammed goes to me, oh bro, what about if we do food? I said, look bro, you take that on if you want, I'll carry on with the clothing.
Yeah.
And he started the One Love Leicester feeding on the market in 2015.
Yeah,
He's done it for a few years and whatever, and then he's had to go to Derby for studies and with his wife and whatnot. So he goes, Arif, I can't really think of anyone else I can give it to who's going to actually run it properly.
Yeah.
Please take it over. And I said, well, yeah, no problem. We've not looked back since.
Well, he's put a message on, of those wish I was there moments, 2 legends of Leicester in the studio. I think it's talking about you two.
No, definitely
not me. It's about you two.
I'm sure one of your pictures says legend on there. I think that's what it says. So,
bro, we gotta call it a night, man. We could go all night now, man. So
what time is it? Oh, have we
we're over on the show.
have we got people watching?
Because we had a guest appearance. We went over our time allotted slot.
Yeah, usually it's 12 till 1. Time expired on night houses. Great producer we got today, Mohammed Jusab. Big up him.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we've got 58 seconds left. So any last words you'd like to say to encourage people to help you with this cause? I mean, Help the Homeless Leicester, 9 Abbey Street. Every Wednesday you're giving food and clothing to the homeless.
Yeah, B&B as well, like I said.
B&Bs,
yeah, when we find people on the street in winter.
Housing them.
Yeah, put them into B&B first, and then obviously, again, the key thing is the whole addiction thing. As long as they're not got any active addictions, we can keep them in a B&B, check out the benefit entitlement, what they're on, what they're not on, why they're not on that, what we can get them, etc., and then potentially move on to housing.
Is there a chance you can... Okay, we'll do it quickly. Ivan Humboldt, Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Yeah, welcome, Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, mate? Before we go, 20 seconds left. Are you going to run in the future something to the program to help wean people off drugs?
It's a very complex issue, and I don't know whether we're
there
actually...
are some retreats that do that.
No, there is. There's places out there that do it, but I don't think we're geared up for that, to be honest with you. So maybe not, but we're looking to work with offenders
Yeah.
that are being released out of prison before they get released. I mean, we've had situations where on Christmas Eve, for example, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the probation service rang us and said, right, we've got this guy here, he's not got a forward plan, which I don't know why, but he should have, and we're closing at 5. Is there anything you can do, because this guy's going to go on the streets? 1 hour. So obviously we've stepped up and spoken to them and got the information, and we put him in a B&B initially over the Christmas period, and we've put him into housing. He said, had you guys not been there and I was on the street, I guarantee I would have smashed the window or something just to go back in because it's freezing. I couldn't have hacked it. Imagine. So that's where the crime prevention and all that comes into it as well. So that's where we're moving into one avenue moving forward as well.
Well, that's brilliant work. You know, Allah bless you, reward you with good, and keep you steadfast in what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Now on board as well, so hopefully.
Yeah, you're on board as well now,
Well, I can't do much, but I'll just follow your lead. But
I think we should have more and more guests like this.
Yes.
So we can highlight, the good work that we don't realise that's happening in Leicester.
Of course. So who can get next week then?
We'll see.
Saturday. Who can get on Saturday?
We'll
Does
see
good
who we
work.
can
Just one there. City Retreat. That's you, just on Saturday, yeah. The producer. Can
No,
come
the
on.
City Retreat's always coming. So we need somebody else.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, so I think we need to call it a night. So Jazakallah khairan for tuning in, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the best of this month as well.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Ameen.